to Leeds Tax News. I'm Josh Lloyd-Madams.
And I'm Lauren Farrow. Here are today's headlines.
Protests over fire service cuts at the opening of a new fire station in Leeds.
Rail fares are going up. We get the views of passengers.
And Great British Bake Off winner Nadia Hussain from Leeds gets baking at the Merrion Centre.
The new Killingbeck fire station opened today to replace the Gipton and Stanks fire stations in Leeds.
A protest took place outside the new station this morning over the cuts in fire cover after the closure of two neighbouring stations and a campaign against the closure of Moortown Fire Station. Sarah Hewitt reports.
The protest took place this morning outside the new Killingbeck fire station. We spoke to the organiser of the protest.
We've organised this really as part of the Save Moortown Fire Station campaign, which is a fire station in North Leeds, a bit further on. What we wanted to highlight was that even though we've got the Lady Mayoress of Leeds here and the Chief Fire Officer celebrating the building of a new fire station, this fire station actually represents a cut in fire cover in this area, because what's happened is two fire engines at Gipton Fire Station have been cut and one fire engine at Stanks Fire Station that way have been cut, and they've been amalgamated into this smaller station which only has two firefighting appliances. And we have to remember that fire cuts in any area have a knock-on effect to the neighbouring station.
Inside the station was an opening ceremony where we spoke to Deputy Chief Fire Officer about the protests.
Yeah, the fire station represents a massive investment, many millions of pounds investment in the local community. We built the fire station to replace two older fire stations, one at Gipton and Stanks, because the numbers of incidents that we have in this area now have significantly reduced. We're also facing the significant financial challenges over the next few years and the past few years, so yes, we are closing fire stations, but that's on the back of a significant reduction in incidents as well. Well, obviously people are concerned about the closure of fire stations, and I admire their passion, and I think I'd be more concerned if people didn't care about the fire and rescue service. But fire stations like this are about the future, and unfortunately some of the older fire stations are about the past, and the station that they're complaining about closing, the one at Moortown, unfortunately Moortown is very quiet now. We're closing Moortown and Cookridge, hoping to replace that with a fire station at Weetwood, which will provide fantastic service for the whole area.
I'm Sarah Hewitt reporting for Leeds Tax.
Rail tickets will be rising by 1.1% from January. The annual rise is lower than it has been in previous years, but has still drawn criticism from campaign groups.
Leeds Tax News went to the city station to find out the views of passengers. Sean Kent reports.
The Rail Delivery Group have announced that rail prices will rise in January next year. The 1.1% rise has been criticised by unions and campaign groups. However, the Rail Delivery Group argue that the move allows the government to focus on building a bigger and better network. We spoke to commuters on their opinions of the rise.
My salary hasn't risen by anything like the rail fares have risen. We're treated to a substandard service and we're being charged more and more for it. I think it's totally unacceptable.
Right, well they're already incredibly expensive. I travel from Doncaster to Leeds, £17 return per day. You know, it's a lot of money. They shouldn't be putting them up. That's all. They shouldn't be putting them up. I can't say any fairer than that.
Unless salaries are rising to accommodate the transportation costs to get to and from work, then no, it's not justified.
Stricter tests are set to be introduced in Leeds for non-UK taxi drivers, but does this guarantee public safety?
Peter Roberts has been finding out what passengers think.
Following the Rotherham grooming scandal, non-UK taxi drivers in Leeds are to face stricter tests to gain their taxi licence, after concerns were raised about the current process. Applicants will have to provide more in-depth information about themselves before they pass what's known as the Fit and Proper Persons test. We spoke to the people of Leeds to see if they feel safe getting into a taxi.
Yeah, I'd say generally I do, but maybe that's because I'm a lad, so it's a little bit different. I usually get an Uber or like Amber, so I know the companies quite well, so I feel a bit safer. But I can understand why some people, when you're drunk, maybe you just get into a random taxi, and that's probably not the safest.
I feel safer. I get into the back more or less than the front. That's a bit of a safeguard, I suppose.
Well, I don't see how the test can change it. I've never heard about it. I don't get how anyone else has.
Des Broster, head of taxi licensing, said the purpose of the test was to prove that public safety is paramount. 80% of taxi drivers in Leeds now come from abroad. Under the new proposals, applicants will have to provide a reference from a UK professional as well as their country of origin. Leeds City Council hope that these stricter tests will help improve customer safety. Reporting for Leeds Hacks News, Peter Roberts.
The Lord's Prayer advert has recently been banned from cinemas across England due to offence it may cause to some people.
Elsie Dineen spoke to the public in Leeds to see what their opinion was.
This is the Church of England advert that was recently withdrawn from cinemas by the Digital Cinema Media Advertising Company after deciding it posed a high risk of causing offence. The advert, which was intended to represent the Lord's Prayer and nationwide faith, was withdrawn from many cinema screenings of Star Wars last week, following the controversial decision being made. Iconic figures throughout Britain, such as David Cameron and Boris Johnson, have since condemned this act, ruling it ridiculous and outrageous. I spoke to people of Leeds today on their views of the matter.
No, I don't think it would be offensive at all. I mean, it's just an advert. It's just somebody saying it. It's not anybody trying to indoctrinate anybody or push it down the throat. You just listen to it and take from it what you want.
I don't believe that religion should be perhaps displayed in public places. I believe that religious freedom is important, but I don't really want to see that because I don't believe in the Lord and that there's an almighty saviour.
Well, everybody's to their own opinion. Everybody's to their own opinion.
The Bishop of Leeds, Nick Baines, has also spoke out about the advert in the wake of this controversy, writing an online blog post entitled Just Pray, in which he has written, "So, why do the cinema people think prayer is so dangerous? And who exactly is going to be offended by a 1-minute advert that consists of a pile of people saying a phrase of the Lord's Prayer in sequence? No propaganda, no cohesion, no pressure, just an encouraging invitation. What is the problem?" The pressure continues to mount for the DMC following these criticisms.
You know the holidays are coming when the Christmas Coke truck is making its appearance. The Christmas Coca-Cola truck came to Leeds City Centre yesterday. The iconic red truck parked up outside Leeds Gallery in Victoria Gardens until 8 p.m. last night. Crowds gathered and queued up to get a picture with the truck and get a free can of Coca-Cola.
The Great British Bake Off champion Nadia Hussain has showed off her skills in a live cooking demonstration in her hometown of Leeds.
This was Nadia's first live demonstration and was held in the Merrion Centre in Leeds City Centre. Abby Cooper reports.
Nadia!
The Great British Bake Off champion Nadia Hussain returned to her hometown of Leeds, where crowds gathered in the Merrion Centre to watch her perform some of her famous recipes. She entertained the crowd by reflecting back on some of the most memorable scenes from the show.
Last episode where he said, "Happy Nadia," and you just looked up and went, "Happy Paul."
Oh, I think I'd come out of my shell by that point, and then I was starting to get really cocky. You know when you're like, but I promise you, Paul, promise you, Mary, I can make puff pastry. But you've got this puff pastry that's just kind of fallen apart. You're like, I swear I can make it, I can.
With a great turnout, we spoke to a few members of the crowd, asking them what they thought of the show and of Nadia.
Merrion Centre do some really nice stuff as well.
Yeah, I thought the recipes were interesting. I do want to try them out.
There was an opportunity to meet and greet Nadia, where fans were queuing out the door to get a picture with the winner. This is Abby Cooper reporting for Leeds Hacks News.
Well, Yorkshire has escaped the worst of the recent storms and floods, but let's find out what's happening over the weekend with Barry.
Night and morning here, with temperatures dropping drastically overnight.
As you can tell, it's rather windy here in Leeds today, with temperatures only reaching up to 6 degrees. There's showers predicted all throughout the day, with a few rare sunny spells. You may well have woken up to blue skies this morning.
However, both the temperature and forecast is set to drop this evening and descend into a cold night. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Hattie. Surely the weather's got to get better this weekend.
Let's hope so, but don't call me Shirley. That's all from us here at Leeds Hacks. Goodbye.
Bye.